I'm gonna get a little spritz. So today, the moon's in Aquarius, so you might like a spritz that's good for the mind. So that could be something like a Zen or a forest walk or anything that's good for your mind. Welcome to your practice. Close your eyes when you're ready and sit up as tall as you can unless you prefer to be on your back. And if you want to be on your back, then just allow your spine to lengthen on your back with your knees bent or straight. If you can turn the palms to face up and join your thumb and your index finger, just join that for that connection. Take some deep breaths and start to come internal. You're starting to notice how you woke up this morning. Kind of noticing thoughts that have surfaced this morning. Maybe they've landed and there's a lot of thoughts or little thoughts or a heavy thought, a light one. Notice your mood, any emotions. Notice the amount of energy you feel like you have in the practice, not because you need to use more of it or conserve, but just to notice so that at the end of the practice, sometimes we actually get more energy, sometimes we don't, but just kind of noticing what energy you have to work with. And then noticing anything in your body that's talking to you this morning, neck, shoulders, back, hips. So we're going to begin a 3-part breath. And so I'm going to ask that when we breathe in, we'll breathe in equality. So if you're going to breathe in for 4 counts, then breathe out for 4 counts. We'll try to create some balance there. So we're going to do that 3-part breath where we breathe into the belly and then kind of this middle ribs and then this top of the chest sternum. So we'll start with 4 counts, and if 4 counts works great, then keep that. And if 4 counts is too long, go down to 3. And if it's too short, go up to 5, okay? So empty your breath all the way out. And then closing your mouth, breathing in for 4, 3, 2, all the way at the top. Hold for a slight pause and then out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in. And then out for 4. So I'm going to let you do your own counting, and that kind of gives the mind a little something to do. And just again, concentrating on really opening up the belly, the side of the ribs, the chest, the sternum. So you're counting and deciding if it's 4 counts or if it's 5, but you're balancing it out. And there's a little bit of pause at the end of every inhale and exhale, just a moment to feel that shift. Really letting the breath be unrushed or not any stress. Softening your jaw. Kind of really enveloping this sense of space as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, the polarity of that emptiness and that potential. We'll do 2 more rounds just like this. Maybe you've been able to lengthen the breath 1 count. And then just returning to a normal breath, and once again checking in to notice how your body feels now, your mind, your spirit, your mood. And then rubbing your hands together, forming an intention for this practice today, whatever it is that you want to cultivate in your life and your body, whatever you want to offer your energy towards. Go ahead and name that internally or out loud. And then resting the thumbs on the heart notch, take a breath into your intention, hold at the top while you feel and experience that intention fully. And then send that intention out with your exhale. Nice. Release your hands and go ahead and roll onto your back. So we're going to work today with internal and external rotation of the shoulders, and I'll show you that when we get there, and internal and external rotation of the hips. So one of the easiest way to do this is to let your legs fall all the way to the right, and your arms can be out or by your hips, and then fall all the way to the left. So as you're doing this, one leg is internal rotation, one leg is an external. So just go ahead and do that. It can be fast or slow. So you might enjoy just kind of letting your legs flop to one side and holding it there. Or you might enjoy just the rhythmic moving of going over to each side with your breath. So take a moment to feel what it's like to feel this in your hips. The thighs are doing different things. And you might find that one position or one side likes one rotation better than the other. So sometimes we're more comfortable in external rotation, sometimes we're more comfortable in internal, but our body can do both and needs to do both to stay healthy. So the next time your legs flop all the way to the right, keep them on the right and just take a moment to feel what's happening. So letting the pelvis just settle in, feeling the left thigh in internal rotation. The left thigh, the right thigh in external. Maybe you accentuate by drawing the left hip forward a bit, getting a little bit deeper stretch across the left hip. And now start to bring the back of your left pelvis towards the floor. This will lift your thighs so that we allow the pelvis to get as neutral as it can before the legs then now shift over to the left. And then just pause and hold the legs there. Left leg externally rotated, right leg internally. Then maybe you accentuate by drawing your right hip towards the left and forward. And then again, let the back of your right pelvis press down towards the floor, and this will start to bring your legs back towards neutral. And just feel that. So that was moving the hips with that. Go ahead and take your legs to the sky. We're going to do internal and external rotation now with the pelvis stable. So you're not moving your pelvis, but the legs will rotate in and out. And I want you to feel that. Just kind of take a moment to notice, again, what your range is. So noticing if it's easier to internally or externally. And we're doing this at the hip socket, so it's not at the knee joint or the ankle joint. So do note that, it's up higher. So imagine the thigh bone as it enters the pelvis. That's where we're turning. Okay, and then go ahead and let your legs internally rotate and hold. So your toes will point in, your knees will point in, kind of feel that 3 or 4 more breaths, just holding internal. Try to relax your jaw. And then turn your thighs out. So toes are out, heels are in. Kind of like a dance pose. You can flex your heels back if you want. A couple more breaths here to hold. And then go ahead and neutralize the feet, place them flat on the mat, and then just take a moment in a neutral spine. We're going to now concentrate on the shoulders for a moment. So you're going to keep your feet flat. We're going to let the hands touch at the top of the mat, or top above your shoulders, and then rotate so your palms face down as you go down to the floor. So bring your arms up, and then press your palms down. And so we're going to be going externally and internally rotating. I'm just kind of doing that rhythmically for a moment. Waking up your shoulders. So I'm not moving the scapula at all, just rotating the arm bones. And again, same thing like the hips. The arm bone enters the shoulder joint, and that's what's rotating in the socket. It's not the whole shoulder joint's not moving, just the humerus bone. And then hold it out so your palms press down, your thumbs are towards your toes. And then go ahead and feel that internal rotation. So you're rolling kind of the bicep down. Maybe some of you can lift the pinky edge and get a little bit deeper internal rotation. Holding. And then from here, we're going to keep the arms down, but now we're going to roll the palms to face up. And again, maybe even deeper, lifting the pinky edge for external rotation. So we're just getting a little bit deeper hold. And then go ahead and neutralize. You can keep your hands here, or you can place them by your hip. Go ahead and roll or turn the right outer foot, so not the ankle, the outer foot, to the middle of the left thigh, right at the knee line. And then you're going to lift the legs without using your hands. So it's an active stretch. So I have the right outer edge of my foot kind of lining up right down the center of my right thigh. And I'm going to press the foot into the thigh as I draw it in, and I might move the hip side to side to kind of play with sensation. So maybe further to the left is a little bit more sensation, further to the right less. And just hold here for 5 breaths. So you're going to feel a lot of activity in the hips as you do this. A little bit in the core, hopefully. And then place the left leg down, and then we'll switch. So the left leg, we take the outer left foot down the center of the right thigh. And then using the strength of my body, I'll bring the legs in without my hands. Then I'm going to press the thigh towards my foot and keep turning that left thigh out. So again, this is external rotation. So I'm kind of using my foot thigh to get a little active. And again, I can roll to the right or the left to find variations of sensation that might feel interesting. Sometimes going to a different side is going to give you a little bit different sensation in that hip joint that might feel good. And then go ahead and let the legs come down, uncross. Walk your feet wide so that your knees knock in. So now your legs are in internal rotation. So there's a little bit of pressing into the inner knees and a little bit of engagement of the core. And just kind of hold this internal rotation. So you're kind of pressing the knees just gently together. So you can go as wide apart as you need. Nice deep breaths. And then one more. And then neutralize the feet, hug the knees into your chest, and just allow the low back to stretch a little bit. Okay. Go ahead and rock and roll yourself up to a seat, and then we're going to take it to all fours with that internal and external rotation of the shoulders. And so as we're going to take the arms behind our head, as if we're going to do, and we're going to do a little rotation in a moment. Then we're going to take the arm and place it the small of the back. So that's internal, external. So this is all I'm going to do, and I'm going to stay in all fours just to kind of warm up through the shoulders. Neck is long. Palm comes to my head. And I'm doing this at the shoulder joint. So keep going. And just make sure as you do this, again, you're not moving the scapula up and down. Yeah, nice work, you guys. Just nice and easy with your breath. We just want to mobilize the shoulder joint, get it nice and loose before we strengthen. Awesome. So the next time you can bring your hand behind your head, kind of feel like the back of your head press into your hand. Then we're going to do a little rotation. So bring the right arm down and then lift up. And then bring it down and then lift up. We'll do this about 3 more times. One more. And then release that arm to the small of your back, and then sit back, child's pose, and walk the left arm forward. It's a little bit different. So you're gonna kind of press into your left palm, turn to the right slightly so that you can lay your head in your bicep. So kind of my left ear kind of rests in that crook in my left arm. This is a little bit of a twist. Let that right shoulder relax. A couple more breaths. And then we're going to slowly release that right arm down to the floor. We'll come to all fours and then tuck your toes under downward facing dog. So that's our first one, and you might feel a little uneven since we've only done one shoulder. So take some deep breaths, working a little bit of strength. Place your right arm at the small of your back, just like you did. So you're balancing in one arm, down dog, and then place it down and then switch, left arm. And then switch. And just taking your time, so it's not a race. Really want to feel this openness in the joint. So just starting to strengthen just a little bit. And then we'll do one more. And then we'll place the knees down. And so we're in all fours just like we started. And so now we take the left hand to the back of the head and then to the small of the back. So you know this drill, just keep going. So I'm using my core to lift. Just allowing that arm to turn in the socket. So far we haven't moved the scapula too much except for those twists. So the next time you have your left hand at the back of your head, lift the neck in, and then twist. You're going to take the left elbow towards the right. It's okay now to move the scapula, and then twist. And then bring it down, and then bring it up. Nice, and then taking that arm out into the small of your back, sink back child's pose first, just reaching that right arm forward. And then lifting up slightly to turn towards the left a bit, resting your head in your bicep. So you should get a nice little shoulder stretch too as you do that. Nice deep breath. Slowly coming up, releasing the hands to the floor. Just a couple rounds of cat-cow. Now move the scapula. Should feel good after moving just the arm bones. So now we're fixing the arm bones as we move the pelvis, move the shoulder blades. Okay. And then as you're ready, tuck your toes, downward facing dog, and then we'll start moving a little bit more. Okay. So working a little bit with that external and internal rotation with our legs, with our arms. We'll put all that together. Slowly walk towards the top of your mat. And kind of just hanging there in a rag doll, so bend the knees as much as you need to, shake your head out. I like to, if my neck's feeling tight, I like to interlace my hands behind my neck and kind of press the pinky and the thumb line apart from one another. So C7, that big kind of notch that you feel in your cervical spine, kind of pressing the thumb line there, and the pinky line to the occiput. That's that bone right at the hairline. Kind of feel your elbows heavy so that it lengthens the back of your neck. Nice deep breath. Then as you're ready, release the hands down. We worked on this the other day. So bend the knees, arms out to the side like airplanes. Now roll your biceps towards the sky to come up. That was external rotation. And then internal, take the arms down, internally rotate them, and then let them trace kind of the back of your thighs and come down. Halfway lift, stretch long through your spine. And on the exhale, step back to plank pose. 4 times in plank, again, trying to work your core as you work that shoulder work. We're gonna go internal. Nice, downward facing dog. We'll take that right leg and we'll lift it up. This time externally rotate it. So turn the thigh out and lift it a little bit higher. It's like a half moon leg. Pause for a couple breaths. Then internally rotate it. So now it's level. Step the right leg forward. Step the left knee down. And then take the arms out. And then we're going to exhale. We'll take the left arm to a half bind. And we'll take the right arm up. I'm sorry, the right arm's in a half bind. The left arm is up. Take a deep breath and lift up through that left arm so you can feel that stretch. And then go ahead and, like you're holding a platter, let the left palm face up, and with your right hand grab that elbow crook, and just allow that to be a little bit of a stretch. So keep the lift and then just hold for 3 or 4 breaths. So I'm just with my fingers holding that left elbow kind of crook. Letting that arm reach for internal rotation. One more deep breath. And then both arms are going to slide up. We're going to slide up to a high lunge. Take a really deep breath. And on the exhale, I'm going to take those arms both to the small of my back, and I'm going to grab onto my elbows. And I'm going to straighten that right leg and hinge forward. So I'm just grabbing onto the elbows. Now bend the right knee one more time. Take the arms out behind your head, just like we did before. You can interlace the hands if you want. Lift up, side stretch to the right. So I'm going to lift up to my left bicep. I'm going to lean over to the right, keeping my legs nice and strong. Then coming back up to center, hinge forward, and I'm going to twist to the right, holding back of my head. So just kind of be able to support the neck here. So it's a high lunge twist for 3, for 2, and then go ahead and take the left arm down and the right arm out. So you're in a low lunge twist just for a moment. And then slide the arm down and towards your right foot, downward facing dog. Pause, take a deep breath here. Coming into plank pose. So last time we worked that external, now we're going to take the arm to this to back and then out. So I'm going to take it out, back behind me, and then down 4 times. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up. I'm going to turn the thigh in my socket and lift that leg as high as I can. So it's an external rotation. The right hip moves back. Let the head go. Then I'm going to reorient internal rotation, step the left leg forward, put my right knee down. Take a deep breath, and we're going to take the left arm in internal rotation. First, the right arm goes up just to help lift my right side seam. Then I'll just bend that arm, letting the palm face up, and I grab onto my bicep. And I continue to kind of release into the lunge. Couple more breaths. Okay, then releasing, as I tuck the back toes under, I'm going to come all the way up to a high lunge. Just pausing here for a moment. And then I'm going to take the arms in internal rotation. I'll grab opposite hand on top, straighten that front leg, and hinge forward. So I can go halfway or I can fold in. Let your neck go if you can. If you just seal the back foot flat, that will give you a lot more stability. But we were asked to work on balance this month, so if you want to add in that extra balance, go ahead. As you're ready, reach back up, high lunge. Now the hands go behind my back. I'm going to lift up and take a side stretch. So I'm going to really open up to my right side body, let my head fall back into my hands, that my neck is supported. And then come all the way up and then hinge forward a bit so you can get your spine long, and then twist to the left. Not with the shoulders, twist with your belly. And then open the arms up and bring your right arm down to the floor. Take a deep breath, and then both hands to the floor, plank pose, all the way down to the belly for chaturanga. And we'll do our first cobra. So lift the arm, or lift the chest, pull back with the arms. And then all the way down and back, child's pose, hands at the small of the back. So that same word, internal rotation. When you're ready, slide those arms forward, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, look forward. We're gonna hop into that squat, so you can go a little bit wider, and then kind of hop so that your legs are internally rotated. And we're gonna come to a squat. And then we're gonna straighten the legs, bring the legs neutral, sink in the Utkatasana. Then we'll step the legs wide. We sink into like a wider horse. I'm gonna face you now. And then we're gonna neutralize and we sit down chair pose. So we're going external and then we're going neutral. Just a few more times. You can go lower if you want, but we just wanna feel the thigh bones turn. And then sink down Utkatasana. And then lift that right heel off the mat. Take your right leg, externally rotate it just like we did on our back, sink back. Take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. And then unhook and then place it down. Then lift the left heel up and then hook it on top. Sink back. And then we're going to take the left leg and instead of placing it down on the floor, we're going to sweep it back to a warrior two. So now I'm with my right leg forward. I'm just going to turn around. So we have heel to arch alignment. Arms are out. Same shoulder work. Turn the palms to face up. And externally rotate. Turn the palms to face back. So you're rolling the top of the hand up. So we're just going to let that happen at the shoulders. So I was doing it really big. And you can certainly do that. Or you can just roll it. And it's happening here. So it tends to happen, I can't see all of your arms, but you don't want to just move the forearm, right? And have the shoulder not move. So feel the arm bone where it enters the socket and do a few more rounds of this. What I also like is to add the scapula. This one's nice for neck. So as I'm rolling, I'm letting the scapula move too, and that can feel really good. Do this for a few more times. Nice. And then go ahead and straighten that right leg. And we're going to take a half bind. So we're going to take that left arm to the small of our back. And then we'll lengthen forward and down into a triangle. And you can let your head go. You can look down. So letting that left elbow be heavy as it draws the neck and the elbow away from one another. So keep finding your core. Okay, bend the right knee. You're going to reverse your warrior and you're going to take the right arm to external rotation. So I'm just going to snake my arm, my fingers down my shirt, and my left arm is going to go up. Even if I'm not holding, my right arm can hold my neck and I can reach back. And I like holding the neck one because that one's nice and supportive. Nice deep breath here. All right, when you're ready, we're going to slowly release the hands all the way down to the floor and then take figure four down dog. So ankle over at knee and down dog. So external rotation. Nice deep breath. And then unhook and come to down dog. Just take your time. Breath in and breath out. Okay, we're going to look forward. And we're just going to allow the knees to come down and the ankles to come wide. And you're going to sit back. So now we're in internal rotation. You can take a block here. I like that because sometimes it's too much. My ankles are wide. So now I'm in internal rotation with my feet. And I'm just going to lift up and I'm going to tap down. So I'm strengthening the muscles here in internal rotation. These get really, we don't work this a lot in a lot of shapes because we do a lot more external sometimes. So just like 3 or 4 more. On the last one, go ahead and sink down to that block, high or low side. Lean to the left so that you can place your right foot flat on the floor or extend it out if you can. I'm still on a block, my right leg is straight. If you overextend the knee, put a blanket or a block under. Take the arms and reach up, and then hinge forward. Let that head go. So again, knee is straight in front of me, left ankle outside the hip. Three more breaths. Then using your hands, kind of lift up. Go ahead and come back to that standing split. It's kind of like a half moon like we did in downward dog. So my left knee is turned out, my left foot. Heel to the glute with your right hand, grab onto it, and you'll get a little thigh stretch. So my left knee is pointed out. I'm lifting my left thigh, and I'm rooting through my inner right thigh. And you're going to put both feet down the floor, bend those knees, chair pose. And then that same work we did, turn the toes out, squat. Bring the legs neutral, squat. Out wide, squat. Neutral, squat. 2 more times, rotating. And then you're going to hold in the wider squat. So for you, that could be just a wide squat where you put your elbows on your thighs or your arms come forward. It can be all the way low, doesn't matter to me. Just have the thighs turned out and you're in a hip hinge. So for 5, 4, and then straighten the legs, come to a neutral, deep breath, reach your spine long, and then sink back 5 breaths here in chair pose. So staying in that little squat, lift the left knee up, ankle over thigh, sink back. So you have some options here. I can sink back further. I can press where my knee and my foot are in one line and hinge a little further, and that's going to give me some depth. Kind of squeeze the 2. I can fold forward for 3. Okay, switch it out. You're back in your squat. Lift up, externally rotate, sink back. And again, I'm pushing foot and knee in one line and just kind of squeeze them in. That gives me a little bit of compression. This time we're just gonna swing that right leg back and we're in warrior 2. So I'm gonna move around. So the same work, external, internal. And again, I can lift the chest and round it forward. I'm not moving my hips, so they are staying nice and strong. And I'm just kind of feeling. If you like to turn side to side and do one arm at a time, that's another variation. Same pose. This can be nice for the neck. Okay. Take a deep breath, and we're going to take that right arm into internal rotation so the palm is facing out, straighten your left leg, and then we're going to hinge into triangle. And I didn't show, but of course you can have a block. So instead of letting the shoulder round down, pull it down your back, pull the belly, turn the waist, but let the head go. Stand strong on your legs. And then bending that left knee, take your left arm up. So you've got bicep to ear, and either grab your neck or snake your left arm down your back towards your right arm. And you've got kind of that bind that we do sometimes in that hip stretch, the Gomukhasana bind. Big stretch as you open up the left side waist. Take another deep breath. And then slowly releasing the arms as you cartwheel the hands down to the floor. And it's figure 4 down dog, so the left ankle crosses on top. And one more breath. Unhook, come forward to plank pose. All the way down to your belly, locust pose this time. So we shoot the arms back. You can go internal rotation or external rotation with the arms. Might play with that. And then all the way down to the floor. Tuck your toes, come back. And we're gonna come to kneeling. And then once again, knees in, feet out. Grab your block if you need it. If you wanna make it harder, the block goes lower setting. Ankles are outside my knees. And then like 5 or 6 times, I'm just lifting off the block. And then, so similar to what we did in bridge. And just lifting and lowering. And then we're gonna sink all the way down. Lean towards your right leg so that you can extend the left leg out. And then arms are gonna reach up and then hip hinge, fold forward. Then using the strength of your hands to lift you up, come into that standing split with the right hip lifted and turned out. Then heel your glute, reach back with your left hand. If you can grab it, you can also bend the left knee. And as you externally rotate the right thigh, it goes out and get a nice little thigh stretch. And then right leg releases down to the floor, fold forward. Let's come all the way up to standing. So squat, arms out, palms down. Rotate your arms to face up as you stretch up. And then internally rotate the arms as you come all the way down to that forward fold. Halfway lift, stretch your spine long. And then forward fold, step back to that plank pose. And now we're gonna take the arm forward, internally rotate it, take it back forward, and then down. Left arm. We have 2 more, 1 more on each side. Keep those hips pointing down. And then bring your hands down to the floor, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Shaking your head up, let the neck be nice and long. Okay, we're gonna take that right leg. We're gonna step it forward between our hands and we'll either come to low lunge or high lunge. So we're gonna do kind of that flow work where we had the hands behind our back. And maybe we'll lift back. And then we'll lift the arms up and then internally rotate them. And then either we'll find elbows or you can find the small of your back. And then you're gonna straighten the leg, if you'd like, and fold forward. So it's gonna be a little flow. And then we'll put the knee down. We'll take the arms to the head, reaching up and back. And then as I lift my back knee, I internally rotate it, folding forward. You're just gonna keep going just like that. You could always keep the knee down. And I could always do this if I prefer. So you have like 3 more flowing, right? I go to high lunge, or sorry, it's okay if you go to high lunge and then low lunge. I realized I did this one backwards. So just kind of get with your breath. Feel this flowing movement of your arms. And we'll do maybe 1 more combination, putting it all together. And then come to high lunge when you're ready. Take those arms all the way up. Pause for a moment, sink on in. And then bringing your hands to meet at your heart, step into your right leg. Take a figure 4. So sink down. And then step it out wide, go to that wide squat we practiced. Come back in to that neutral squat. And then come back to figure 4, one more time. And then swing it on back, warrior 2. So I'm gonna turn around back to warrior 2. And then this time we're gonna go right arm up, left arm down, and you'll reverse. And then we'll do the opposite. We'll go right arm to the thigh, left arm to the head. And then we'll go left arm to the small of the back, right arm up, reverse. And then right arm down, left arm to the back of the head. So if you want to add on a little bit more twisting, you can. So as I come up and back, this won't change. But as I come down here, I can either twist towards the mat or I can twist up and away. Okay, so keep going with this a few more times. I want you to really just feel all that mobility happening in your shoulders in whatever way that feels good. Really let that breath just carry any tension that's in the shoulder area. And then this time when you come up and the right arm is up and the left arm's down, pivot so that left thigh is out. Now you're in horse pose and take a side stretch to your left. And then switch the arms and take a side stretch to your right. And that's what you'll switch for one more time on each one. Nice, and then you'll take both arms up, parallel your big toes, take your hands to the back of your head, and hinge forward. Twisting to the right, so drop the left waist, lift the right. Don't over tense the shoulders, just feel this in the core. Come to the center, twist to the left. And then releasing the right arm down, the left arm comes up. We hold this twist for 3, for 2, and then both arms down to the floor, walk towards your right leg. Bring that left knee down, walk the ankle out, and again, hinge back for that internal rotation if you need to grab the block. Keep it here, so you can stay here, or you can lean on back and grab the foot, and you can extend and hold. So it's just the same hamstring stretch, just kind of dialing it up a notch. One more breath in and out. And then go ahead and let that right foot come down. Step forward, and then you'll just step into plank pose. So you can move your block if it's in the way, all the way down to your belly. So take the arms forward as if you're going to go into Superman. And then lift the arms, and then snake the arms to the small of your back, and then rest your right cheek on the mat. And then lift your arms, lift your legs, take the arms forward, Superman, and then let them rest at the small of your back, left cheek to the mat. 2 more times, Superman, and then hands to the small of your back, right cheek, and then Superman, arms to the small of your back, left cheek. And then releasing your hands down by your waist, press up and back. Child's pose. You can keep your arms forward if you like that, even turning the palms to face up if that feels good. Or if you'd like to internal rotation, place them at the small of your back. And then when you're ready, come forward, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out, letting the head go. Feeling some neutrality after all that strengthening work. So however you want to get there, left leg forward, low lunge. Taking the hands to the back of your head. Maybe there's a reach up and back. Coming into neutral, lifting your back knee, either touching your fingertips or reverse prayer as you fold forward. And again, you can seal that back foot flat if you want. And then reaching up. You can go at whatever pace you need to. Taking your time, feeling all that openness through the shoulder joint. And you can always stay on your knees if you need that. So we'll do this one more time, and we're going to come to high lunge with the arms up. Pausing here, finding your legs, finding the length of your spine. Then hands to the heart, step in, figure four. And then stepping wide into that squat of choice. And then stepping back in, figure four one more time before you transition to warrior two. So I'm going to turn around. So left arm up, right arm back. And again, this is that flow between sides. So it's familiar, just getting your own rhythm with it. All right, a couple more. So next time you come up and back, stay, and then pivot so that the right toes turn out. Then we'll do a side stretch to the right. And then we'll switch. So you might not be touching your hands, you might be grabbing onto your neck. And then one more time here. And then last time, the arms are going to come up to the back of the head, parallel your feet. Hinge forward, twisting to the left. And again, I'm twisting my spine. I'm not yanking on my shoulders. To the center, twist to the right. And then drop the arms down. And then releasing both hands down, turn towards your left. Drop that right knee down, kick your ankle wide. If you need a block, grab onto it so that you can sit back. And you'll have your last time with this hamstring stretch and internal rotation. Or if you want to sit up tall and straighten the leg this way, you've got those options. Whatever one feels good. And then just climbing forward after your last breath, and then sinking back into child's pose with your knees to the side or forward, arms forward or back. And then sliding your hands up to sit. Just kind of take a moment to sense into your shoulders. We did a lot of movement in the shoulders, so just kind of feeling what it's like to breathe. So maybe putting back that deeper breath, just to notice if you can breathe a little deeper after kind of letting the tissues of the shoulders glide a little bit. Sometimes we find that that does affect our breathing, or even just our sense of feeling a little bit lighter. So we're going to strengthen the shoulders at the very last little bit here, just to restabilize everything from all that mobility. So come to down dog. So really important to strengthen the same joint that we mobilize. So we're going to bring our big toes together. The left arm will step a little bit wide into the left. Turn your hand out, keeping your hips wide. Rotate into side plank. And if you need your left knee down, please do that. So the arm can be up or the arm can be over your head. Try to dial that right hip up. From your left shoulder blade, press into the mat. So you feel a widening action of the scapula. Also feeling your arm bone kind of hugging into the socket at the same time. So you have both. You have the widening of the scapula and you have the drawing in. Take another deep breath. Plank pose. A little mini chaturanga if you want it. Press back to downward facing dog. Let your big toes touch. Turn your right arm out a bit. You go slightly forward. Keep your heels up. Turn your hips, keeping them high, and you're in side plank on the second side. So again, from your right shoulder, press into your hands like you're pressing the mat away. At the same time, hug that arm bone in so you feel that integration. Arms overhead or arms up, doesn't matter. And then coming into plank pose, a little chaturanga, down dog. And then we're gonna do that fluidly, but I would say like no faster than like 1 or 2 breaths. So I'm gonna transition, side plank. I'm gonna transition to plank. If I want the chaturanga, I can. Second side. And I'm just gonna kind of keep dancing between these. Maybe we'll do like 2 more rounds each side. You can skip and come to down dog if you don't want the plank. And just kind of practice the stabilization of your shoulders. Strengthening of your core. Doesn't have to be fast. And then last time, maybe on each. And then when you're ready, you can put your knees down and then just rest. Letting the shoulders kind of feel that warmth now as the stability comes in. And then we're going to do that with our hips as well. So go ahead and climb onto your back once again. We'll cross our right ankle over our left. This time you can do ankle if you prefer. If you like the foot, you certainly can. And we're going to lift up to a bridge. So as I'm pressing my ankle or my foot into my standing thigh, my thigh lifts into that action. One more breath. And then set the hips down. Uncross, just pause for a moment in neutral hips. And then left ankle over thigh. Find your core, lift up, press ankle into thigh, thigh into ankle. Try to level out your hip points. Then let the hips come down, unhook. Widen your feet, let the knees knock together, and then lift your hips for an internally rotated bridge. So I'm pressing the knees together just lightly, but I'm still lengthening through the tailbone as much as I can and pressing my heels into the floor. Hips down, one more time through that sequence, right leg over left, lift into a bridge. Doesn't have to be the highest bridge, just enough to feel the hips having to work pretty hard. And then the hips come down, unhook, left ankle, lift up into bridge. And then hips down, unhook, knees knock together, feet wide, lift your hips up. And then one more deep breath. And just lower your hips down. Let's neutralize the legs. So just hip distance apart, let the arms rest, just take some deep breaths, just feeling neutral. And then we'll just twist to integrate all that. So straighten your left leg, bring your right knee in towards your chest, roll the ankle if you like. Then take that right leg across your body, right arm out. So you're welcome to put a block under your right knee that can feel nice just to rest, because we're going to be here for a little bit to really take in this twist. So the palm might rest up or the palm could rest down on your right arm. Nice deep breaths. And then slowly coming back in. So bring both knees in. Maybe it's like a Baddha Konasana in the air, grabbing onto your ankles or shins, and just taking a moment to stretch the lumbar. Kind of give it some shape again. And then right leg straightens, left knee pulls in. Take it across your body. Feel free to rest it on a pillow or a block, left arm out to the side. And then just settle into your breath. Palm up or palm down on the left. And then bringing that knee back in, bringing both knees in, whether both knees are together or wide, to give your low back some shape again. So it's inversion time, so that can mean a bridge pose on a block. It can mean a shoulder stand, a plow pose, a headstand, a handstand. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to find whatever inversion of choice that you'd like. And I'll ask you again to tune into the breath again. So we were doing a balanced breath. So maybe you'll invite in that balanced breath to your inversion. So maybe that's a 4 count in, a 4 count out, or maybe it's 3 or 5. But letting that inversion not only balance the brain, but allowing the breath to also go deeper into that balancing intention. So it can be nice to let the mind count the breath or the counts if your mind tends to wander as you get stiller. Or you can find a focal point in your body that can often help me, is I just find a space in my body that I breathe into for those counts, and I just kind of keep my awareness on that spot in my body, and that can be helpful. And then when you feel like you're ready to come out of your inversion, sometimes there's finishing shapes that you like another twist, or it can be another hip stretch. So I'm going to give you a moment to go through any of those. If you want to stay in your inversion, of course, that's also perfectly wonderful. So as you go through your finishing shapes, you'll eventually rest in a position in which we'll do a little bit of this Soham meditation with the breath work. And I'm going to give you a visualization. Sometimes you can do that perfectly fine on your back. For me, I have a hard time with those types of things on my back. So I like to sit up and do that, and then I lay on my back when I'm finished. So it's totally up to you and how your body functions. So the mantra that we'll repeat as we breathe is Soham, Soham. which can translate to I am that. And this mantra connects us to that more infinite consciousness that is a very unifying, balancing, harmonizing consciousness, right? Because it's the part that's in all of us. So I'm going to give you a visualization that as you inhale, I want you to start at the base of the spine and come up through the midline, up to the center of the brain. And on the exhale, you're going to go from the center of the brain back down. And you can imagine coming up the front of the body if you want to invigorate your body, and the back of the spine on the exhale. Or if you want to calm, come up the back of the body on your inhale, at the back of the spine, and come down the front of the spine as you exhale. So coming up the front body is energizing, coming up the back body is calming. Okay, so you're visualizing an inhale from the base of the spine up your central column, and the exhale is from the center of the brain down. Your inhale is so, your exhale is hum. So I know it seems like a lot, I promise we'll go through it slow. So close your eyes and just begin with the breath. So inhaling and exhaling. And if the breath can be balanced, wonderful, whatever counts that is. So just all you're doing right now is breathing in and breathing out. Now on your next inhale, start at the base of the spine and breathe up your body on the inhale. From the center of the brain, exhale back down to the base of your spine. From the base of the spine, breathe up to the center of the brain, inhale. From the center of the brain to the base of the spine, exhale. Add a so to that inhale. Repeat hum on the exhale. So as you breathe up to the center of the brain. Hum as you breathe down to the base. So as you breathe up. Hum as you breathe down. So as you breathe up. Hum as you breathe down. Like ocean waves, continue on with this. So you can keep going with this meditation if you're enjoying this, or you can start to move on to your back and just begin breathing and resting on your back. Otherwise, just keep the meditation going with the breath work. This is how we join with that infinite consciousness that's within all things. This is how we connect to our most vast part and deep part of our wisdom. And maybe in the next moment, you'll start to come onto your back and just kind of receive your practice. So receiving the mantra, receiving the breath work, receiving the movements, as if you've made these intentions and these energetic ripples and disruptions in the energy field, and now that we stabilize the energy field around us by allowing, right? We've had effort, and on the other spectrum of effort is now this receptivity and easefulness. And both are needed, right, for that balance. So really allowing your own body, your own frequency to align, to regulate, to shift. And you're just allowing yourself to witness, to be a part of that. From the Tao Te Ching, it says, under heaven, all can see beauty as beauty, only because there is ugliness. All can know good as good, only because there is evil. Being and non-being produce each other. The difficult is born in the easy. Long is defined by short, and high by the low. Before and after go along with each other. So the sage lives openly with apparent duality and paradoxical unity. The sage can act without effort and teach without words, nurturing things without possessing them. He works, but not for rewards. He competes, but not for results. When the work is done, it's forgotten, and that's why it lasts forever. So how might we continue to find balance in the paradox of the world we live in? Within our own lives, within the simple things of dark and light, effort and receptivity, sleeping and working. And this is the dance and interplay that we get to work with during this season. Is all the areas in which we find paradox when we find ourselves on one side is being able to navigate, to be curious, to let that be a place of learning and discovery. The new edges in which we can embrace all and connect to that vastness. So taking your time to wiggle again, or wiggle fingers or toes, and maybe you slowly come up to a seat, or maybe you continue just lying and receiving. We'll join the hands at the heart, bowing towards that infinite wisdom and presence within all of us that connects us, that unifies, that harmonizes, simply by remembering it. So maybe we'll be able to invite in some of that during our day today, some of that balance and ease and effort and inhale and exhale, that we can feel less affected by the poles and the paradox and more curious. So take a deep breath into your intention, feel how that intention has come to light in whatever ways it has in your practice. Exhaling, let it go. Big stretch up as you inhale, breathing in whatever fullness in this day you can embrace, and then exhale, hands to the heart. Bowing towards your efforts to this practice, your efforts to show up, the gift that you are to our community, to really be here together, how important that is. So take a deep breath in, sigh it out. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Thank you for practicing, friends. Namaste.